today we are going to continue on in Chapter 2 with Lesson 2.4. If you need a reference point from your math textbook, Lesson 2.4 is on pages 70 and 71. Lots of good information there that you can find also. So our topic for today is adding and subtracting whole numbers. Hopefully this will be good review from 4th grade. We're going to add and subtract multi-digit numbers today. All right, and starting with this example. All right, now the first thing I want to point out is we don't add or subtract going side to side. So it's very important. The first thing you need to do when you get a problem like this is to rewrite the problem. All right, now be careful when you rewrite the problem because you always want to make sure that you're copying the problem correctly. All right, so we're going to start with 321, and I'm adding today, so I'm adding 608. All right, when we are adding and subtracting whole numbers, you always want to start in the ones place value. So I'm going to start way over here on the right. The 1 is in the ones place value, and the 8 is, and I'm going to add there. 1 plus 8 is 9. All right, 2 plus 0 is 2, and 3 plus 6 is 9. So the sum, when you add two numbers together, it's called the sum. The sum of these two numbers is going to be 929. All right, so they're going to take us through these steps and show you just like we did. All right, so step 1 is to add the ones. They're starting with 8 plus 1, and they got 9 just like we did. Then they add the tens. 0 plus 2 is 2. And last, we're going to add the hundreds. 6 plus 3 is 9. All right, so just like we did, all right, they got 929, and that was close to their estimate. They did some rounding, and they got an estimate of 900, and so that is a reasonable answer. All right, so now they're going to give us an example to practice on. All right, so again, this is written side to side like this. We are going to rewrite it, all right, going up and down. All right, 432, and we are adding, all right, 547. So we're going to start way over here in the ones place value. We know 7 plus 2 is equal to 9, 3 plus 4 is equal to 7, and 4 plus 5 is equal to 9. So the sum of those two numbers is going to be 979. All right, now let's talk about subtracting. When we're subtracting two numbers, the answer is called the difference. Again, they wrote these out side to side. I want you to start off by rewriting the problem, making sure you're copying it correctly, all right? And then you need to line up. So since this is in the hundreds place value, that's where you need to start, is lining it up in the hundreds place value, all right? So we're going to start again. Even when we're subtracting, we're going to start over in the ones place value. So we're going to take 9 and subtract 5, and we get 4. 7 minus 3 is 4, 8 minus 5 is 3, and 3 minus nothing is 3. All right, so the difference in these two numbers is 3,344. All right, now we're going to go through, and they'll take us through these steps. Their estimate is 3,400. All right, they're starting by in the ones place value just like we did. 9 minus 5 was 4. Then you move on to the 10. 7 minus 3 is 4. 8 minus 5 is 3. And then finally in the thousands place value, 3 minus nothing is 3. So just like we did, they got 3,344. That is close to the rounded estimate of 3,400. And so that is a reasonable answer. All right, so now we get to practice. All right. Again, it's going side to side, so our first step needs to be rewriting it, going up and down. 4,788, we're subtracting 254, all right, making sure we line it up correctly. We're going to start over in the ones column. 8 minus 4 is equal to 4. 8 minus 5 is equal to 3. 7 minus 2 is equal to 5. And 4 minus nothing is equal to 4. So we get a final answer, a difference of 4,534. All right, and we look here, and that looks like letter A. Now, we can apply this to story problems. And it looks like if we look at the title up here, we're going to be doing a little bit of regrouping. We're probably going to have to carry some. And so we're going to talk about that and how we do that. The high school band took a trip to Austin to see the Music Man. The Music Boosters raised $6,253 for the trip, and the students paid the remaining $4,986. How much money did the trip cost in all? Now, we've been talking about adding and we've been talking about subtracting. How do we know which one they want us to do here? We're trying to find out how much money they collected in all. These are the clue words right there, in all, that tells us we are going to be adding those two numbers together. All right, so if we know that the Booster Club raised $6,253, we are going to add, all right, the amount that the students paid, which was $4,986. All right, and I think we're going to have to do some regrouping. All right, so again, start over in your ones column. 3 plus 6 is equal to 9. All right, then when we move to the tens column, 8 plus 5 equals 13. Well, I can't write 13 down there. All right, and so we put the 3 down, and then we regroup, and we carry the 1. All right, 9 plus 1 is equal to 10, plus the 2 is 12. And so we'll put the 2 down, carry the 1 again, and then we'll add the thousands column. All right, 6 plus 4 is 10, plus 1 more is 11, and so I will write 11 down here and add my comma in there. All right, so the trip in all cost $11,239. All right, and I think they'll take us through. They got an estimate, they rounded and got an estimate of 11,000, and then they're going to take us through the steps just like we went through. They added the ones. They're adding the tens. This is where they were regrouping. Since 5 plus 8 was equal to 13, you put the 3 down and you carry the 1. And then you have to do same thing in the hundreds place value. All right, we got a 12 there, so we put the 2 down, carry the 1. And then when we add the thousands, we got 11,000. All right, so the trip costs $11,239 in all, and that was close to their estimate, so it's reasonable. All right, so we're going to practice this here too. It says the school raised $5,682 for the seniors to go on their senior trip. The students had to pay the remaining $6,731. How much did the trip cost in all? Again, we know we're going to be adding these two numbers because of these key words right here, in all. All right, that tells us we want to add. So I write down the 5,682. And then I am adding in the 6,731. We start over in the ones column. 2 plus 1 equals 3. Here I'm going to have to do some regrouping because 8 plus 3 is 11. I can't write 11 down here. So I'm going to put the 1 down, carry the 1. 1 plus 6 is 7. 7 plus 7 is 14. Again, I can't write 14 down there, so I put down the 4 and I carry the 1. 1 plus 5 equals 6. And 6 plus 6 equals 12. All right, and so it will cost $12,413. So we look at our answer choices, and that looks like letter C. Nice job. Now, we're going to talk about subtracting with regrouping. All right, sometimes when your top number is smaller than your bottom number, we have to do some borrowing and regroup a little bit. Again, we're not subtracting side to side like that, so we write down 951 and we are subtracting 787. Now I look at this problem though and I say to myself, I can't take 1 and I subtract 7 from that. I can't do that. So I have to come over to the next one and I have to borrow from the 5, make that a 4. We're borrowing 10. All right, we already have 1 there. 10 plus 1 equals 11. So now that is going to become an 11. 11 minus 7, I can do that. That is 4. All right, now when I go to my tens column, I have the same situation. I can't take 4 and subtract 8 from it. So I'm going to go over to my hundreds now, cross out the 9, make that an 8. Again, I'm borrowing 10. So since I already have a 4 there, that 4 is going to become a 14. All right, 14 minus 8 equals 6, and then I do go to the hundreds place value, and I can take 8 and subtract 7 from it, and that is 164. So just practicing using a little borrowing to get your final answer. All right, so they're going to take us through the steps here. All right, we're going to start with subtracting the ones, and they're going to show us, since we can't do that, just like we did, they crossed out the 5, made it a 4, they added 10 to the one that was already there and got 11. 11 minus 7 is equal to 4. They're gonna do the same thing in the tens. We can't take 4 and subtract 8, so they're gonna borrow from the 9, make that an 8. That 4 becomes a 14, and then 14 minus 8 was 6. And lastly, the hundreds, 8 minus 7 was equivalent to 1. So just like we did, they got 164. All right, so we're gonna get a little practice doing this. All right, 823, and we are subtracting 589. All right, so we know we cannot take 3 and subtract 9 from it, so we're gonna borrow from the 2 and make that a 1, and we're adding in 10, since there's 3 there, 10 plus 3 is 13, so I'm gonna write 13 up there. 13 minus 9 is equivalent to 4. Then I go to the tens place value. I can't take 1 and subtract 8 from it, so I have to borrow from the 8, make that a 7. All right, the 1 is there, so I'm gonna add this in and make it an 11. 11 minus 8 is equal to 3, and then I go to my hundreds place value, and 7 minus 5 is equal to 2. All right, so our final answer will be 234, which looks like the letter D. Yes, nice job. All right. Couple things just to remember is if the problems are written side to side, we don't add or subtract side to side. You have to rewrite them going up and down. And if your top number is less than your bottom number, you need to remember to regroup and do some borrowing. Have a great day.